Cynthia Erdelyi, Erdelyi.
Erdelyi, what's your occupation?
I'm a licensed private investigator.
How long have you been a private investigator?
Approximately 14 years.
And before that, what was your employment?
As a police officer for Santa Monica.
And how long were you with the Santa Monica PD?
2 years.
Now, are you one of the defense investigators in this case?
I am.
Your Honor, I have 2 video cassettes that I'd like to mark next to an order 355 would be the one that says Route 1, and 356 would be the one that indicates Route 2.
Yes.
And if I might approach the witness.
Yes.
Ms. Erdelyi, showing you these 2 video cassettes, first of all, is it your handwriting on the labels?
Yes.
And did you participate in the preparation of those 2 videotapes?
Yes.
And what did those 2 videotapes contain?
They contain the 2 routes driven on Sunday, November 7th.
Okay. And when you say Sunday, November 7th, is that 1993?
Yes.
And the routes that you refer to are those routes that begin at 722 North Elm Drive and end, or at least encompass the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium in Santa Monica,
Correct.
and then a return to 722 North Elm Drive.
No, basically, we ended at Santa Monica Civic
Okay,
on
so-
both routes.
All right, so you didn't videotape going back to 722 North Elm Drive.
No.
Okay. And you indicate that these videotapes were made on November 7th, 1993?
Correct.
And was that the first time that you drove a route emanating from 722 North Elm Drive to ultimately the Santa Monica Civic?
No.
On how many prior occasions had you also driven one or more routes between those 2 locations?
I drove once and rode along once.
Once before?
Correct.
And what was your purpose in driving this route on these 3 separate occasions?
On which occasion?
Right. Well, first of all, you did it on November 7th, 1993.
Correct.
What was the previous time did you drive on November 7th?
Yes, I did.
And was there a previous occasion when you also drove?
Yes.
And do you recall the date of that?
The Sunday before October 31st.
And was there a previous occasion when you rode along?
Yes.
And when was that?
The previous Sunday, and I'm sorry I don't have a calendar in front of me to tell you the date.
October 24th?
Correct.
Okay. And on each of those 3 consecutive Sundays, did you drive 2 different routes between the Elm Drive, former home of the Menendez family, and the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium?
Yes.
So you drove a total of 6 different routes over the course, 6 routes over the course of 3 consecutive Sundays.
Yes.
And on all 3 days, all 3 Sundays when you made these drives, did you drive at night?
Yes.
Now, you're aware, are you not, that the shooting in this case occurred approximately 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday night, August 20th, 1989?
Yes.
And are you aware that was testimony by Lyle Menendez concerning his best recollection of what was done after the shootings, and testimony by Eric Menendez concerning his best recollection?
Yes.
And you're aware that in some details, the testimony of each of the brothers is different concerning how they went from one place to another?
Yes.
And is that why you made up videotapes of 2 different routes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, to your right, although only X-ray vision could read it from here, are 2 charts. What do those charts contain?
Pardon me?
What do the charts contain?
They consist of mileages and driving times and routes taken and speeds traveled and speed limits.
For what? For what drive?
I refer to Route 1 as
Okay.
The
Is
route-
this the November 7th stuff that's on the videotape?
correct.
Okay. So on those charts is in printed form what was done on November 7th, which is reflected in the videotapes where you can actually see what you're doing. Is that
Correct.
All right. Now, if you would just, we're going to go through the detail, but first, if you would establish for the juries, what is the general sequence of what you've indicated as Route 1? And, Your Honor, does the court feel we should mark these charts as exhibits just for the purpose of the record?
All right, if you care to do so, we will 357 and 358.
Okay, so 357 will be the one that is labeled Route 1 on the left. And then 358 will be Route 2 on the right. If you could generally describe to the juries, Ms. Erdelyi, what the path of Route 1 is.
Route 1 starts at 722 North Elm and going eastbound on Lomitas to Sunset.
Now you're giving too many details. Where's the first stop after leaving 722 North Elm on Route 1? Just
The first
generally.
stop I timed was on Mulholland Drive, just west of Coldwater Canyon.
And was that an effort to emulate, if you will, or call it that, to recreate, if you will, going from the house on Elm Drive to Mulholland Drive to dispose of some guns?
Correct.
And after and then there's a stop on Mulholland Drive, correct?
Correct.
And then after Mulholland Drive, where does Route 1 pick up? Where does it go then?
I headed back southbound on Coldwater Canyon, Beverly Drive, and back down to the Century City Shopping Center.
And that's to go to the AMC movie theaters at Century City. So that's the second stop.
Correct.
And is the third stop, well, strike that. What is the third stop on Route 1?
The third stop would be the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium.
And is there factored into Route 1 a fourth stop at a gas station, which is a low rectangular building with some dumpsters at the back?
Correct.
And is that stop made on the videotape before the Santa Monica Civic or after?
It's after, and only still photos were taken.
Still photos. With respect to getting from the theaters to the Santa Monica Civic on Route 1, how was that accomplished? Was it on streets or on freeway?
On the streets.
And now, just generally, so the juries can orient themselves before you go through that, what was Route 2?
Route 2 also started at 722 North Elm, and the first stop was at the AMC theaters in the Century City Shopping Center.
And the second stop?
And the second stop was on Mulholland Drive, just west of Coldwater Canyon,
And the third stop?
the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium.
And what was the method used to get from Mulholland to the Santa Monica Civic on Route 2?
South on Coldwater Canyon to Beverly Drive, and then westbound on Sunset Boulevard to the 405 freeway south, and then on the 10 freeway.
Santa Monica Freeway?
Correct.
So Route 2 has a freeway component.
Correct.
And is it factored into this trip also a stop at a gas station with a low rectangular building and dumpsters for clothing disposal purposes?
Yes.
Now, was it your understanding when you commenced these routes that you were trying to establish whether these stops could be made within a set time period?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of the set time period?
We were looking at 67 minutes
67 minutes from what to what?
from the time of the shooting until the call was made to Perry Berman at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium.
The call made from the Santa Monica Civic?
Correct.
Now, when you drove these two routes on November 7th, I take it you timed every segment.
Not every stop, but
Not every segment.
every
Stop one,
segment
stop
was
two.
timed. Correct.
Okay. And you also allowed time for the stop at the gas station and the changing of clothes and the dumping of things in the dumpster. Is that correct?
Correct.
And when you did that on November 7th, were all the tasks completed on Route 1 within 67 minutes?
Yes.
Were all the tasks completed on Route 2 within 67 minutes?
Yes.
When you did this previously on Sunday, October 31st, you also drove a Route 1 and a Route 2 on that occasion.
Correct.
Were all the tasks completed on both routes on October 31st within 67 minutes?
Yes.
And when you rode along to the drive on October 24th on two routes, were all the tasks that we've designated completed within 67 minutes on each route?
Yes.
So is it fair to say that all 6 times that you drove a route from the Elm Drive house to the Santa Monica Civic, you were able to complete everything within 67 minutes?
Yes.
Now, if you would take the juries through the specifics, let's turn to Route 1. And is there something that you, first of all, did you make note when you started of the traffic conditions and the weather conditions?
Yes, I did.
And on the night that you videotaped, Sunday, November 7th, what were the traffic conditions for Route 1?
Moderate to light.
What were the weather conditions?
Clear and dry.
And do you have any reason to believe that it was anything other than clear and dry on August 20th, 1989?
No.
Now, what is the portion that you refer to as lap 1?
Lap 1 would be starting from the house on Elm Drive and going to the spot on Mulholland Drive.
And would it also include a period of time to complete the activity on Mulholland Drive, which is throwing the guns basically down the hill?
Yes.
Okay. And at what time did you actually begin lap 1 of Route 1 on November 7th, 1993?
At 8:37 p.m.
And did you treat 8:37 as the time of the shooting or as sometime after the shooting when you left the location?
I would treat that as 4 minutes after the shooting.
Okay, so you allowed for 4 minutes after the shooting before you left the location. Is that correct?
Correct.
And where did you go at the point when you left the location?
I'm sorry. From leaving where?
The start
Elm
place,
Drive.
Elm Drive. You leave at 8:37, and on this route, you're assuming that the shooting occurs at 8:33, correct?
Correct.
Because you're leaving 4 minutes after the shooting.
Yes.
All right. So at 8:37, you go where?
We proceeded up to Mulholland Drive.
I know, but now I want you to give me the specifics.
Okay. We went northbound on Elm to Lomitas.
And Lomitas is the first corner,
Correct.
okay? And did you make a turn?
Yes.
And what direction did you turn, right or left?
Right.
And did you turn right because it was your understanding that it had been testified to that there was a right turn made?
That was my understanding.
Okay. And then after turning right, where did you go?
Proceeded to Sunset Boulevard.
Now, in order to get to Coldwater Canyon from Lomitas and Sunset Boulevard, do you have to go westbound or eastbound to actually get to Coldwater? Well, let me ask you, is Coldwater west of there or east of there?
Coldwater would be west.
And can you make the left turn to go west at the corner of Lomitas and Sunset?
No.
What do you have to do to go west?
Proceed eastbound on Sunset to Hillcrest and make a U-turn.
Now, it would take less time, would it not, if you didn't make that right on Lomitas? If you went straight up Elm Drive, then you could make the left onto Sunset. Is that correct?
I would assume so.
But you made the right turn because that's what had been testified to,
Correct.
even though it would add time to the journey.
Correct.
All right. So you make a U-turn at Hillcrest, and then you traveled,
Westbound on Sunset.
and did you observe the speed limits?
Yes.
And what was the speed limit on Sunset?
The posted speed limit was 35.
And was traffic flowing at 35, or was it moving faster?
We were going a little faster.
Was all the traffic going a little faster?
Yes.
Were you keeping up with the traffic?
Yes.
So what speeds did you travel on that piece when you're going westbound on Sunset?
35 to 45.
Did you make any effort, by the way, Ms. Erdelyi, through these routes that you videotaped to go as fast as you possibly could?
I wouldn't say as fast as I possibly could, but I was exceeding the speed limit most of the time.
Why?
I felt someone in a panic and driving this would most likely be speeding.
Objection overruled. The answer was
Were
10.
you going with the traffic?
And that also, yes.
Do you recall the first trip that you did on October 24th when you rode along?
Yes.
Do you recall on that trip going up Coldwater Canyon and finding that the cars were traveling very fast on Coldwater, both north and south?
Yes.
Faster than the car you were riding was going.
Yes.
So cars were even passing you on that trip.
Yes.
So you weren't trying to outspeed all the other cars on the road.
Sustained.
Actually, the driver on that occasion did not outspeed all the
Okay,
other cars.
again, that's the same type of leading question.
Did the driver on that occasion pass other cars on the road?
Not that I recall.
Now, let me ask you this. What's the, take out the freeway section, what's the fastest, if you can recall, that you drove on any segment of Route 1 on the streets?
May I refer to my report for a moment? Approximately 45 miles an hour.
So 45 miles an hour was your idea of speeding?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because it's in some places 10 miles above the speed limit?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you traveled westbound on Sunset Boulevard and traveling 35 to 45 miles an hour. And then was there a street where you made a turn?
Yes.
And where did you make the turn?
I made a right turn on Beverly Drive.
And does Beverly Drive lead to Coldwater Canyon Drive?
Yes, it does.
And did you then take Coldwater Canyon up to the top of the mountain to Mulholland?
Yes, I did.
And on Coldwater Canyon, what were the speeds that you were traveling?
35 to 45 miles an hour.
And, okay. And when you got to Mulholland Drive, was there another turn?
Yes.
And how did you turn?
Left.
And is that to go west?
Correct.
And at some point on Mulholland, did you stop?
Yes.
And was there some reason why you stopped where you did?
Yes.
And what was the reason?
I was instructed to proceed about 2 minutes or approximately 1/8 of a mile and then stop and turn around.
0.8 of a mile?
That's what it came out to on my odometer.
And was that the first turnout?
Correct.
The first turnout on the right, on the valley side?
Correct.
And after you stopped at that first turnout, did you wait?
Yes, I did.
And did you wait to How long?
2 minutes.
And then did you resume the drive?
Yes, I did.
And where did you go on the next lap? That's lap 1, is it not, up to Mulholland and waiting 2 minutes?
Correct.
Now, lap 2, at the top of Mulholland, by the way, did you turn the car around?
Yes, I did.
So did you head back to Coldwater Canyon?
Yes, I did.
And, okay, did you then go down Coldwater Canyon back into Beverly Hills?
Yes.
And would you describe, after getting down Coldwater Canyon, did you then get back to Beverly Drive?
Yes.
Okay, and then where did you go?
Then to Santa Monica Boulevard and right or west,
Okay.
and then to Avenue of the Stars and left or south, and then right on Santa Monica Boulevard south and into the valet parking circle at the Century City Parking Center.
There are no meters in the valet parking circle at Century City.
No,
And did you give your car to the valet, or did you just leave it there?
no, I just left it there.
And did you proceed up to the theater area?
Yes, I did.
And did you purchase a ticket?
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take to purchase the ticket?
4 minutes.
Now, on previous occasions, the preceding Sundays, when you drove these routes, did it take you less time to purchase tickets?
Yes.
Did you put in the chart, however, the longest time it took you of all the trips to purchase tickets?
Yes.
And that was 4 minutes.
Correct.
Now, just to backtrack for a moment, to go to lap 1, okay? How long did it take to get from the house on Elm Drive to complete the 2-minute wait at Mulholland?
Well, I documented the elapsed driving time.
And that was 11 minutes of elapsed driving time,
Correct.
and then 2 minutes of waiting time,
Correct.
and you added on to the beginning 4 minutes of waiting time after the shooting.
Correct.
So all of that segment was 17 minutes?
Correct.
Now, how long was the driving time after the 2-minute wait, when you went from the top of Mulholland to Century City?
13 minutes.
So that was 13 minutes driving time, and then there were 4 minutes to purchase the tickets?
Correct.
So now we're at 34 minutes total?
Correct.
And after purchasing the tickets, where did you proceed on Route 1?
I proceeded southbound on Santa Monica Boulevard South to Century Park West.
Let me ask you a question. You've talked about Santa Monica Boulevard South. Are there 2 streets that are called Santa Monica Boulevard in Beverly Hills?
Correct.
And one of them is as you're getting into Century City, for example, one of them is to the north, and then there's like a divider.
Correct.
I think there's some railroad tracks on that divider, are there not? There used to be.
I don't recall if there are.
And then there's Santa Monica Boulevard, the southerly one.
Correct.
Now, in Beverly Hills, are these also referred to as Big Santa Monica and Little Santa Monica?
Yes.
And is the entry to the Century City Mall and the AMC Theater area and the valet parking area off of the southernmost Santa Monica Boulevard?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you pulled out of the valet parking area and made a left on Santa Monica, and this is the southerly Santa Monica Boulevard, is that correct?
Correct.
And then did you make another turn at the first corner?
Correct.
And how did you turn?
Left.
And is that Century Park West?
Yes.
And where did you take Century Park West to?
Southbound to Olympic Boulevard, and then right or westbound on Olympic.
And how far did you take Olympic Boulevard?
All the way out to Santa Monica.
And what was the elapsed driving time between the Century City theaters and the Santa Monica Civic? the
17,
street on Olympic Boulevard?
17 minutes.
And did you also add in time to walk to telephones at the Santa Monica Civic?
Yes, I did.
And how much time did you factor in to walk to the telephones?
2 minutes.
Now, did you actually do this? Did you park your car in the parking lot of the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, leave the car, walk inside the Civic to the bank of telephone?
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take you to do it?
2 minutes.
And did it take you 2 minutes each time you did it on each of those Sundays?
Yes.
And did you also factor in additional time for stopping at the gas station and dumping clothes?
Yes.
And how much additional time for that?
4 minutes.
Now, is there the gas station that I've been, asked you about with the low rectangular building and the dumpsters? Is there such a gas station in Santa Monica?
Yes.
Is there one in close proximity to the Santa Monica Civic?
Yes.
How close is it actually?
1 block. It's at 4th and Pico.
And factoring in all of those times to stop at the gas station and dump the clothes, on this route, what was the total time from start to finish?
The driving and activity times came to 57 minutes.
So that was 10 minutes less than the goal.
Yes.
So on Route 1, you could have actually added another 10 minutes if you wanted to hanging around the Elm Drive house, and you would have still made it in 67 minutes.
Correct.
Or you could have added more time to dump the clothes,
Correct.
or more time to dump the guns.
Yes.
Now, with respect to Route 2, Route 2, I take it, also started at 722 North Elm Drive.
Correct.
Now, this particular route, when you drove it on November 7th, 1993, started at 9:55 p.m.
Correct.
And on this particular route, what is the first lap? You go from the house to where first?
The first lap starts at the house and goes to the Century City Shopping Center.
So this is from the house to the theater first.
Pardon me?
From the house to the theater.
Correct.
And what is the driving time, or what was the driving time that night from the house to the theater?
6 minutes.
And in fact, Ms. Erdelyi, on the prior Sundays when you also made this trip, was the driving time from the house to the theater 6 minutes each time?
Yes.
And did you again factor in a waiting time before leaving the house?
Yes.
And was that again 4 minutes?
Yes.
And did you then also factor in the 4 minutes for purchasing a ticket,
Correct.
even though on prior occasions it had only taken you 3 minutes to purchase tickets?
Yes.
And then from the theater, so lap 1 was 14 minutes, is that correct, from the house to the completion of the buying of the tickets?
Correct.
Okay, then lap 2 was from the theater to where?
To Mulholland Drive.
And what was the route that you took? What streets did you drive to get from the theater to Mulholland Drive?
Eastbound on Santa Monica Boulevard South to Beverly Drive and left or north. Then to Coldwater Canyon and left or basically northbound, and then to Mulholland Drive.
Okay, and on this occasion, when you went up Coldwater to Mulholland, did you go to the same turnout as in Route 1 to stop and wait for the time period for getting rid of the guns?
Yes, I did.
And did you, on this occasion, again, turn the car around so you'd be heading back down Coldwater?
Yes.
And what was the driving time from the from Century City to the top of Mulholland?
15 minutes.
And then did you also factor in the 2 minutes to simulate getting rid of the guns?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you then drive back down Coldwater to Sunset Boulevard?
Yes, I did.
Now, on this route as well, on Route 2, apart from the freeway time, was your top speed 45 miles an hour?
If I may just review my report for a moment.
Mhm.
Correct.
Now, when you took Coldwater Canyon South to Sunset on this one, that's lap 2? Is that part of lap 2 of Route 2?
I think you mean lap 3. Would be starting from Mulholland Drive and heading south on Coldwater Canyon. Would be the last lap.
Okay. Okay, so you take Coldwater to Sunset, is that correct?
Correct.
What do you do on Sunset?
And then go westbound or right on Sunset Boulevard. And I took that to the 405 freeway and got on the 405 freeway south. And then took that to the 10 Santa Monica freeway and took that right or west into Santa Monica and used the 4th Street exit.
Now, what was your top speed on the freeways?
62.
Okay. And you got off at 4th Street, and did you then proceed to the Santa Monica Civic?
Yes.
Did you directly enter the Santa Monica Civic?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Pardon me?
Why not?
I was informed and instructed that the boys had gone by the entrance once, so I tried to do the same thing. I mean, not tried, I did. I went by the entrance once and back around the block.
And was that true of every single time that you drove these laps, including Route 1, that you didn't just directly pull into the Santa Monica Civic, you actually tried to simulate being lost and not being able to find the entrance and going completely around that whole block?
Correct.
And is it a very long route around, if you miss the entrance to the Santa Monica Civic, do you have to go all the way past the Santa Monica Civic Center and then completely back around past the freeway off-ramps, and then completely back around Pico Boulevard to get back into the Santa Monica Civic?
Correct.
So it's a fairly lengthy detour.
Fairly.
And you did it each and every time that you drove these routes?
Yes.
Okay. And then after doing this simulated getting lost and going back, did you then pull into the lot of the Santa Monica Civic?
Yes, I did.
And when you got there, did you again factor in time to walk up to the payphones to place a call?
Yes, I did.
And did you factor in time to dump the clothes at the Arco station a block away?
Yes.
And did you factor in that time to dump the clothes as if that occurred before the telephone call was made?
Yes, I did.
And now on the total for route, and again, was that 4 minutes for dumping the clothes? Was that 4 minutes for dumping the clothes?
Yes.
And was it 2 minutes to walk to the phone?
Correct.
And what was the elapsed driving time for lap 3 from the Mulholland Drive start point to the Santa Monica Civic?
29 minutes.
And what was the total time for all of Route 2?
All of Route 2 elapsed driving and activity time was 66 minutes.
Now, if the dumping of the clothes at the gas station occurred after the telephone call, in other words, if you take it out of this segment, then would it have been 62 minutes before one got to the payphone at the Santa Monica Civic to place the call?
Correct.
Have a moment, John. At the Century City Mall, is there a section you said you pulled into the area of the valet parking area. Is there a long driveway area before you actually get to where the valets take the cars?
It's a circle, fairly long.
Okay. And is there a staircase right in that circle that leads right up onto the mall?
Yes, there is.
And when you get to the top of that staircase at the mall, can you see the theater ticket
Yes,
booth in front of you?
yes.
Now, is that... Okay. Never mind. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Erdelyi, before preparing the videotape, did you receive the videotape from the prosecution?
Yes, I did.
And about how long before you prepared your videotape was it that you received a videotape prepared by the prosecution of this route?
Should object to the form of the question. There's no foundation for what is on the prosecution.
Sustained.
Well, okay. You received a videotape from the prosecution which displayed driving. Would that be correct to say?
Yes,
And did you examine that videotape before you set out to make your videotape?
Object to the form of the question is vague.
yes.
Now, I believe when's the first time that you ever attempted to replicate Route 2?
October 24th.
And before either one of the defendants in this case testified, had you driven the route?
No,
It was only after their testimony that you began to drive the route on October the 24th?
correct.
Now, in preparing yourself to drive Route 2, did you examine the testimony of Lyle Menendez?
No, I was instructed on what to do by Attorney Abramson. I did not examine testimony.
Now, I believe that you factored in certain times for activities. Now, in other words, you drove the routes and you were actually able to verify through your own senses how long it took you to get from point A to point B, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you documented that on the videotape and also in this diagram that you have on the board, correct?
yes, I have.
Okay. Now, you were given times such as 4 minutes and 2 minutes for activities such as burying the guns, burying the guns and taking the clothes off and waiting after the homicide in order to set out on the route. Would that be fair to say?
Yes,
And who gave you the times of 4 minutes and 2 minutes for these particular activities that you could not document yourself?
the 4 minutes to dump clothes was my own timing to drive over to the AM/PM Mini Mart and give it a reasonable time. And the 2 minutes was discussed as a reasonable time with Miss Abramson as being able to throw guns out.
Well, when you drove up to the top of, to Coldwater up to Mulholland and turned left on Mulholland and you went approximately 0.8 of a mile, did you arrive at the 0.8 of a mile because that's where the first turnout was or because someone told you that's how far to go?
That's what I was instructed to do.
Okay, do you know where the information came from that it was 0.8 of a mile from the intersection of Coldwater and Mulholland?
That's what it came out to on my odometer.
All right, well, what were your instructions in terms of where you were supposed to stop on Mulholland?
My instructions were approximately 0.7 of a mile.
You were told to go 0.7 of a mile?
Correct.
Who told you that?
Attorney Abramson.
All right, did she tell you from where she got the distance of 0.7 of a mile?
It was my understanding that it was from testimony.
All right, and so you went 0.7 of a mile and then you waited for, I think you said 2 minutes, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you notice when you were up there that there was no lighting at all from street lamps or houses in that particular area?
Trying to visualize it in my mind. It's pretty dark. up there. And there's lighting across the street where I turned around.
Did you notice, now at that particular point where you stopped, did the hill go down or did it go up on the valley side of Mulholland?
It went down.
All right. Did you see a lot of brush there?
I didn't get out to examine the brush.
Okay. Did you make any kind of physical examination as to how difficult it would be to go down the hill towards the valley and find a place to bury guns?
Object to the form of the question.
No, I did not.
All right. So did you just sit in the car, wait a little bit, and then turn the car around?
Correct.
And it was pretty dark up there, wasn't it?
Objection, that's been answered and answered.
There was lighting across the street, and I can't remember what the name of that neighborhood or business is there where I turned around. There's some lighting there.
All right. But you don't know whether the lighting would have shined down on the side of Mulholland towards the valley if one were going down there to bury guns, do you?
No, I did not go down there.
All right. So when you arrived at the figure of 2 minutes, where did you get 2 minutes from?
As a reasonable time to throw out guns.
All right. Based upon what?
On our judgment.
All right. Did you consider the idea of secreting the gun some way? That is, either burying them or covering them or something like that?
No.
Okay. And do you know when you went out that night, was it a full moon on any of these occasions when you drove this route?
I didn't make note, so I can't recall.
And do you know whether or not it was a full moon on the night of August the 20th of 1989?
No, I do not.
So you waited in your car for a couple minutes and then you went back down. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you arrived at the notion of 4 minutes after the shooting to start your driving, from where did you get 4 minutes?
That's what I was instructed to do by Attorney Abramson.
All right. And so she told you just to wait 4 minutes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated 4 minutes was something that you arrived at as a reasonable period of time to get rid of the clothes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you actually physically take off a set of clothes, like pants or something like that, to see how long it would take you to do it?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you search through your car to look for things to throw away in addition to throwing away clothes?
No, basically I just stood there.
Okay, so you didn't have the testimony of either Lyle or Eric Menendez to follow along as you were trying to recreate the route. Would that be fair to say?
Correct.
Now, I believe you indicated as well that you attempted to drive around the Santa Monica Civic because of what fact?
Because I was informed that Lyle and Eric had gone past the entrance once to the Santa Monica Civic.
Were you aware of Lyle Menendez's testimony that he got lost?
I was made aware of that by Ms. Abramson, yes.
Now, when you went to Century City to purchase the movie tickets, did you notice that there were no parking meters anywhere around Century City?
I only saw one street being Century Park West, so that would be the only one. And no, I did not see any parking meters on that street.
Did you see any place where you could park and leave a car aside from the place that you've described as the valet parking area?
No, not on the street I was on.
And did you notice that all the curbs there are painted red?
I'm going to object. I think this is vague. I'm not sure what street we're talking about.
Do you notice on the street where the valet parking is that all the curbs are painted red there?
Yes.
Now, when you went to the Santa Monica Civic at the end of all of your routes, did you park your car, go to the box office? Excuse me. Just a moment. I think I have the wrong notes here. When you went out there, did you to the Santa Monica Civic? Did you park your car, go to the box office, look around, then go back to the car, and then go back and make the phone call at the phone booth?
No.
Okay. And when you went all these times to the Santa Monica Civic, and I believe you indicated every single time it took you the same period of time to get in there, did you notice whether the parking lot was full or empty?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. The state's testimony.
I'll ask it again. Ms. Erdelyi, when you went to the Santa Monica Civic and all the times you drove the route and you parked the car, was the parking lot full or empty?
There were just a few cars in it.
Were there any kind of events that were being held at the Santa Monica Civic at the time that you did any of these routes?
One was just finishing, and so actually when I was there was nothing going on.
When you went to the Century City Mall in order to buy the movie tickets, did you ever go underneath to the underground parking there?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you're not familiar with the parking situation underground there, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. May I have a moment, please, Your Honor? Now, can I just ask you, Route 1 you've described as going from the home to the guns to Santa Monica Civic. Is that correct?
Objection to state testimony.
Well, let me rephrase. I'm sorry. You went from the home to Mulholland to Century City to the Santa Monica Civic.
Correct.
Okay. From where did you get the information that you should travel on that route?
I was instructed by attorney Leslie Abramson.
And when was the first time that you ever drove Route 1?
I rode along on October 24th.
And as to Route 2, who instructed you to go on that particular route, which starts with the home to Century City and then up to Mulholland?
Attorney Abramson.
Was Ms. Abramson with you on any of these drives?
Yes.
How many of them?
One.
Do you remember which one?
October 24th.
I have nothing further to witness at this time.
Yes, I was the mad driver on October 24th, Miss Erdelyi.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was the driver on October 24th. You were the passenger.
Correct.
And on October 24th, in fact, did we encounter rather thick fog at the top of Mulholland?
Yes.
And was it very slow going along Mulholland?
Yes.
And did we still make Route 1 and Route 2 in under 67 minutes?
Yes.
Did we wait a period of time before you proceeded directly to the phones?
Just to park and walk up there.
Did I tell you as we were going along that the times that I was giving you for various things was based upon testimony?
Yes.
And did I indicate to you with respect to Route 1 that Lyle Menendez had testified that he wasn't sure if they had gone to the top of Mulholland and gotten rid of the guns before the theater or after?
Correct.
Is that why we bothered with Route 1?
Objection, leading.
All right. It was at your understanding that we were doing Route 1 because Lyle Menendez wasn't certain in his own memory whether the theater came first or getting rid of the guns came first.
That was my understanding.
And did we drive the streets to Santa Monica because Lyle Menendez's best recollection was that it was streets? Was that your understanding?
Correct.
And did we drive the freeway to Santa Monica because Eric Menendez testified his recollection was the freeway?
Correct.
And was it your understanding that the 2-minute period was because Eric Menendez testified it took 2 minutes to scramble down and get rid of the guns?
That was also my understanding.
And with respect to the 7/10 of the mile, was it from the first drive where traveling to the first turnout on Mulholland took 7/10 of a mile in 2 minutes?
Correct.
Now, you viewed the videotape that Officer Zoller made.
Yes, I did.
And is there a portion of that videotape where he drives for 6 minutes in the underground parking lot of the Century City Mall?
Yes.
And is it?
Talking about fact, not evidence. It's also beyond the scope.
All right, the sustained as to the, it's really irrelevant.
Well, are you aware of any testimony in this case by either defendant that they ever went into the underground parking area in Century City?
No, I'm not.
I have nothing further on.
Any recross? All right, thank you. May you step down?
Thank you.
All right, let me see counsel at the sidebar. All right, in regards to the defense,
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, Eric Menendez defense rests.
In regards to the Lyle Menendez.
And at this time, allow Menendez to, or defense rests.
All right, the defendants have rested. There's going to be rebuttal evidence by the prosecution and then perhaps some more evidence by the defense before all the evidence has been completed. I'll talk to the lawyers more. We were doing it here at the sidebar, but I'll talk to them more about how much longer they expect the evidence phase of the trial to be, and then I'll give you more information, hopefully tomorrow, about that. As far as tomorrow, the first witness who will testify will be before the blue jury only. So we want the blue jury here tomorrow at 9 o'clock and the gold jury at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And hopefully by the time we've have everybody here at 10, we start up with the gold jury, but at 9 o'clock for the blue jury. And once I get more information from the lawyers regarding how many more witnesses they expect to have testify, I'll give you that information as far as the duration of the testimony phase of the case, and then information about when you can expect to get into the deliberations. So we'll see you all back here tomorrow. Blue jury 9 o'clock, gold jury 10 o'clock. Don't discuss the matter with anyone. Don't form any final opinions about it. We'll see you back here tomorrow.